A very warm welcome to all the viewers watching the show. Hope you're keeping safe. And today's show is very special as we have a very special person with us. The very fact that we are safe and are able to carry on with our normal routine is very much made possible only because of heroes like our special guest for the day. Sacrificing oneself to make others' life enjoyable and secure is such noblest of qualities, and I can't express my deepest gratitude for all that they have done. I'm sure you would have known when I mentioned they, who that they means. It is definitely our respected Indian Army. This show is titled Career Opportunities in Indian Army, and it is presented by NGPL, Next Gen Political Leaders, an NGO to groom the political aspirants in our country, and Presence, a national monthly e-zine since 2006, started to promote positive journalism, is our knowledge partner. About today's expert, Colonel Vembu Shankar. No words can describe his bravery and the sacrifice he's made for our country. I'll try my best to share a few words about him. Colonel Vembu Shankar is born in Kolkata. He graduated from the National Defence Academy and Indian Military Academy and was commissioned into the Indian Army in 1997. He was awarded the Shaurya Chakra, India's third highest gallantry award in peace, by the President of India for displaying conspicuous bravery while fighting militants in the jungles of Jammu and Kashmir in 1998. Apart from his military achievements and honors he's received, he is a linguist who can speak 5 languages and has distinction of compiling the world's first English Zonka Hindi, a trilingual dictionary. He is an avid quizzer and an avid quiz master as well, and has participated in prestigious BBC Mastermind India and Kaun Banega Crorepati. He is an amateur magician and has performed shows for charity all over India. Also, collecting autographs of famous personalities over 25 years is his passion, and he's collected which includes 5,000 signatures. I think I can go on and on for the next 45 minutes. Colonel Vembu Shankar, I welcome you to our show.
Jai Hind, everyone, and it's a great pleasure to be here, part of this wonderful initiative by the Presence, and it's a great honor to be talking to you, ma'am, and all the way from Australia. So look forward to this interaction. I'm sure the listeners who are listening to us across India and the world, let's hope we have a great conversation ahead.
What energy, Colonel. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind to you too.
Thank you so much. Despite your busy schedule, you have, given your time. And what an energy. Thanks, Colonel.
Jai Hind to you. So great. So it's been a wonderful Saturday. So let's begin our discussion and let's see what we can contribute to the listeners and viewers who are watching us on this various channels of YouTube, Facebook Live, and I'm sure this video is going to be archived later too.
Absolutely, Colonel. And having you with your energy to start with, Colonel, can you please share about your journey into the armed forces? How did that happen?
Oh, well, I was born in Calcutta, but I grew up in Chennai in a school. I went to school called PS Senior Secondary School in Chennai, and I was a Boy Scout, and I did Boy Scouting till I was in 12th grade. I'm from a completely civilian background. We don't have anyone in the armed forces, but I was really attracted to the uniform being in Boy Scouts. I was a Rashtrapati Scout, and then I graduated. I went to National Defence Academy and graduated from there as an Army cadet. And then went to Indian Military Academy and was commissioned into the Army in 1997 into the regiment of Dogras. And then later I've served across all over India. But that was my initiation into a uniform, first through the Boy Scout movement and later through the Indian Army, through National Defence Academy and the Indian Military Academy. In fact, what I will do is I'll give you a glimpse of the Indian Army as such. Maybe the viewers can get to know the wide-ranging Indian Army that I was part of for 20 years plus the 4 years of training. So I hope your viewers will enjoy this a short video about the Indian Army. So let's see that.
Perfect.
So would you be interested to see that?
Definitely.
Okay,
Yes,
let's do
Colonel.
that. So let's share our a small video about the Indian Army.
Sure.
So we're going to be a little challenged here, but we will do it.
And your energy, Colonel. Wow. I'm completely, speechless, spellbound.
No,
Wow.
okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the video,
Yes.
so it's easy for people to see. Yeah, we're going to share my screen, and here we are into. I hope you can see this. Can you see this?
No, Colonel, not yet.
Not yet? Okay. So
No, not yet.
these technical issues keep happening.
Absolutely.
Okay, so yeah, just a second.
No
We will
problem.
get our video up and running, so it's easy for us to then play.
And I'm sure, with the energy that you started, we're all all years just waiting for that.
Yeah, sure.
Yes,
Can you see
Colonel.
now?
Perfect.
Okay. So that is
Wow.
the Indian Army. So
What a
that is the
tagline,
Indian Army.
Colonel.
Nation first is our motto, and we are everywhere. And I hope the viewers got a glimpse of what all the Indian Army does. And I'm really proud to have been part of this wonderful organization right from my training as well as my service career for 20 years.
Beautiful. And invisible but present everywhere. Wow, what a tagline. So is that the tagline for Army, Colonel?
Nation first is our tagline.
Okay.
That's our tagline. But yes, we keep inventing ourselves. And like in a good democracy, you're supposed to be invincible but invincible also. Invisible but invincible.
True. And Colonel, it was a beautiful, mind-blowing video. And you also mentioned that you didn't have, background like an army background, and you ventured into this. You had your education. So can you share more about that? How was, your experience, Colonel, with very little knowledge about, what is out there? Because I'm sure back then we didn't have so much internet and so much information as well. So how was the experience?
Well, the experience was, first of all, like I told you, one didn't have the right knowledge initially, and we didn't have platforms like this, like one that you are conducting. I didn't have YouTube at that time to know what are the career opportunities in the Indian Army. But yes, since I was in the Boy Scouts movement, I had a glimpse of what it was to wear the uniform, what it was to have a camp life, what it was to be with a group of children to share and care. And that's what motivated me to join the army. And I did a little bit of research. In those days, there were employment news. And then one had read a lot of books. In those days, we used to read a lot of books and comics, Amar Chitrakatha, and also used to see a serial called the Paramveer Chakra, which used to come in Doordarshan. So that motivated me. And of course, the great war cries that we have in the Indian Army, like the Madras Regiment, Veera Madrasi, Adikullu, Adikullu. This used to, motivate me. And similarly with the Gorkha Regiment, which says, "Hey Gorkhali, Bolo Mahakali," and things like that, So these kind of things really played on the mind of a young 17-year-old when I watched the Republic Day Parade or while I read books, comics, and things like that. So that's what motivated me to join the Indian Army. And I thought National Defense Academy is the best way to join the Indian Army.
Wow. And the war cries, wow. So will war cries be different for different groups of soldiers? How does the whole thing? I'm fascinated.
Yeah, very few people know about it. The Indian Army is all about regimental spirit. So every regiment, which is like you have the Dogra Regiment, you have the Madras Regiment, you have the Grenadiers, you have the Rajputana Rifles. So every regiment has got its own war cry, and regiments which are with mixed troops have the war cry of the great Bharat Mata Ki Jai. So the typical thing was the regiment that I belonged to, which was the Dogra Regiment. The war cry was Bolo Jwala Mata Ki Jai, and Jwala Mata is the temple in Himachal Pradesh from where the Dogra Regiment sources most of its troops from. But let me tell you, at this juncture, Indian Army is one of the few organizations which is completely secular, and although we have our own war cries, which are sometimes religious or region based, we are one of the few organizations which has got the Sarva Dharam Sthal. Every unit has its mosque, the masjid, the gurdwara, all in and the temple, all in one complex. And so you can be a Sikh officer in a Madras regiment and continue to be serving the Indian Army, because we serve the Indian flag more than anything else.
And when you utter the war cry, we're actually getting goose flush, and we're like, wow. And I'm sure when so many soldiers together, when they give that war cry, the impact and I think the josh that we get, yes. Thank you for the war cry information, because I'm not sure how many of us would know about it.
Very few. I think people should send in their questions and comments what are the war cries that they know. And I gave out a couple of them. It'll be great, research if they can do the war cry research for all the regiments of the Indian Army.
Absolutely. And Colonel, can you share your experience, like when it comes to combats and your life at the armed forces? How was your experience, and how was it day to day there at the military?
Of course. The training is the most important. We did 3 years of training at the National Defense Academy, where the motto of the National Defense Academy is service before self. And then I moved on to the Indian Military Academy, which trains only the Army cadets from the National Defense Academy, where we have the checkwood motto, which says that the honor, safety, and welfare of the country comes first, always, and every time. And the men we command come next, and your own safety, ease comes last, always, and every time. So with this motto is what we were trained. And I was fortunate to move into action quite early in my service career, because I was commissioned in 1997 and I was posted to Jammu and Kashmir. And within a year of service, I got to see action in Jammu and Kashmir, where we were deployed in counter-terrorist operations. And in one of the operations, with just 1 year of service, I led a small body of troops to, when we had information that terrorists have crossed over to the Indian territory. So we carried out an operation where we as a group killed about 6 militants from my troop, as well as totally about 11 militants were killed in that operation. But the good thing about the operation was not just about eliminating or killing the militants, but the most important thing was not a single scratch in any of my boys, not a single wound or a scratch in any of the troops that I led. And this is what we follow in the armed forces and where the training comes in. That the more you sweat in peace, the less you will bleed in war. And that was my dictum in the whole of my armed forces career, that the 20 years of the army career that I had, not a single Jawan or anyone under me has had a single scratch. And that's very important, that the harder you train, the safer you will be. And that is what is a hallmark of a good unit and a good officer when he leads. Because it's not only the troops that you're leading, but there's also a family which you have to, they're also making the sacrifice. So as a good leader, that's very important. And I am proud to say that the 20 years of my service, not a single Jawan or a person from under my command had a single scratch. So my army career was across India because of the good training and because of great colleagues and superiors as well as the Jawans. I could serve across the country. In fact, I had a great opportunity to even serve in our neighboring country, Bhutan, where we were involved with the training of the Bhutanese soldiers. So 20 years has been great. A lot of respect, a lot of camaraderie, and that's in the nutshell. It was a great journey in the Indian Army.
Wow. And I'm actually so much intrigued, Colonel, because when you mentioned about, shooting 6 terrorists, how was your experience, Colonel? It's like, wow, how did you feel? I don't know how to frame the question, but I'm sure,
Oh, well,
my
to tell you the truth, I was really afraid. I was full of
Wow.
fear. If somebody says that, they are not afraid, I guess they are lying, because this is something where it's life and death. And so the first feeling that I had was of fear, of you're actually seeing militants with weapons. They were hardly about 150 yards away from us. But it's how quickly you overcome that fear is what leadership and training is all about. And we spotted these militants early in the morning at about 4:45, and I quickly gathered the troops under my command, and we launched this operation at about, I think, 8 o'clock or something, 8:45, and we came out trumps. It's because we overcame fear. And yes, we undergo all these operations across, but again, like I emphasize, it's all about the good training.
Okay, so I can't believe you were afraid. And when you shot, yes, that should have been, quite a moment, right? Wow.
Well, absolutely. It's like I told you, it's a matter of life and death. So you will have to gather yourself quickly. You have to have the knowledge of the terrain. You have to have knowledge and faith in the troops that you're leading. Have the knowledge and the faith in the weapons that you're having, and you will come out trumps. We are a well-trained army, and we are proud to be part of the Indian Army, where the soldiers are one of the best in the world.
Beautiful. And what were the changes that you observed, Colonel, like having army as your career from a normal day-to-day routine post your, military adventure? How different is your life?
Oh, well, I retired for a specific purpose. I retired from the Indian Army to pursue a mission of mine called Project Samman. Like I mentioned earlier, that it's not only the army personnel who's making the sacrifice, it's also the family which is making the sacrifice. So I retired to look after and connect with the next of kin, that is the families of the soldiers who die in non-operational circumstances. These are called physical casualties in the army. So unfortunately, over a period of time, the connect with these families are lost. So that's what keeps me busy post-retirement, and that's the reason why I retired at a premature retirement. And all this again comes from the training that I had at the National Defense Academy, which was, service before self. In fact, what I will do is I'll give you a small glimpse of what training at the National Defense Academy is. Have a look at this video,
Sure, Colonel.
Yeah. I hope I can, get the technology right this time. Let me get the technology right.
We are your big fans, Colonel, however it is.
Okay, have a look.
Yes. Wow, is this how the daily training will be in the army, Colonel?
Absolutely, this is the National Defense Academy. This is just 0.1% of the training that we did. And like the cadet there says, how's this Josh? And we say, hi sir, which has been made popular by a movie. But we did this much earlier, right from I think the inception of the National Defense Academy. So that gives you a background on what kind of training one had, and that's what I'm going to talk about to the youth today, that they can get into such academies which will make them a well-rounded personality and join the National Defense Academy and then go on to join the Indian Military Academy as a service cadet. So that's the reason why we are here today, to talk about the career in the armed forces.
Wow, that was actually my next question, because yes, when we see movies, we really get inspired. We're like, wow, yes, we want to be part of it. But most of us, we don't know how to go about it, or yes, we're completely lost. So what would be your message, like, if for aspiring military students, or to take up army as a career, what will be your message, Colonel?
Well, there are various ways that you can join the Indian Army. If the moment you're finished as an officer, if you want to join the Indian Army, the moment you're finished your 12th standard from any recognized board, or even through open schooling, we in fact had a session of open schooling conducted by all of you. So if somebody has finished their 12th, they can join the National Defense Academy and continue their training there for 3 years, and then go on to the Indian Military Academy. But let me tell you that the Army is one of the few organizations which will take all kinds of students. It could be a science student, you could be a commerce student, you could be an art student, you could be a lawyer, you could be a doctor, you could be an engineer, you could be an architect, and so you could be a teacher. So the various ways, one is of course at the 12th standard level, which is the National Defense Academy, and then later after the graduation level, where you can join the Indian Military Academy directly, or you could come to the Officers Training Academy here at Chennai or at Gaya. And so you could be a technical graduate, or you could just be a BSc or a BA and then still join the Army. So for all this, what I would suggest to the youth who are considering an option, let me tell you, Army is a service. It's a wonderful service. Do explore. Go to www.joinindianarmy.nic.in. We will leave it in the comment section of this video, so that people who are seeing it can also see the link. It's joinindianarmy.nic.in and nic.in. So that will give you a snapshot on what are the requirements and at what stage can you join the Indian Army. But my only straightaway tip that I can tell you is, it's a wonderful, wonderful career. It's a career which will make you a complete human being. I went in as a boy to the National Defense Academy and came out as a man. And the 20 years of the Indian Army is definitely honed my complete personality, given me a lot of confidence, and more than anything else, it's taught me how to serve to lead. This service is very important, and that's why one has been leading, and that's the reason what I am doing post my premature retirement, is to serve the next of the families of those who have died in non-operational circumstances. So for all those who want to join the Indian Army, go to joinindianarmy.nic.in. We will leave it in the comment section, the website details.
Okay, so that would be www.joinindianarmy.nic.in.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. And how can the students draw motivation, Colonel? But definitely, I'm sure after they join the Indian Army, with the everyday practice, I see I feel like doing push-ups now. I'm one of the persons who would not even want to walk, but we have that feeling of yes, we have to do it. So how can one motivate oneself before joining the military? What are the discipline that one needs to embrace?
Well, the first and foremost is that you should have patriotism. You should have patriotism to serve the country, to serve the Indian flag, and the service that you will do will affect the whole country. So you'll have to remember that. And let me tell you that Indian Army is just not physical. It's being a complete rounded personality. So apart from the push-ups, you also need to be strong here, and you need to be strong here, which is more important. And that's what the National Defense Academy or the Indian Military Academy will hone you to. So what we require is someone who is motivated, who is willing to learn, who's willing to be part of the team, who's willing to lead people, and the process will make sure that whether you have the inherent qualities of leadership, because the process of selecting the candidates to go into the Indian Army is a long drawn process. But if in your heart you know that you're going to want to serve the country, I'm sure everything is going to be easy.
Fantastic. So before we open the floor to to the audience for live question answer session, I would like to ask you a question, Colonel.
Sure,
So
go ahead.
you have a lot of hobbies like collecting, right from the autographs to being a magician. How did you find time, and how were you able to do that? Juggle all the things together.
Well, first and foremost, time is the only resource which cannot be, stretched. 24 hours is same for everyone, whether it's the Prime Minister or whether it's me. It's how you do your time management, which is very, very important. So again, I go back to my academy. One of my seniors used to say that, wake up 5 minutes early. If you're waking up at 6 o'clock, wake up at 5:55. So you will be 5 minutes early at the end of the day. When you go to sleep, you will be sleeping 5 minutes early. But if you're late 5 minutes at the beginning of the day, you will be 1 hour late at the end of the day. So this is something that I follow. I try and do a little bit of time management. I have inherent advantages, so I am involved in a lot of activities, whether it's autograph collection, which I've been doing for more than 30 years now. I also collect a lot of memorabilia. I try and do magic for charity. I'm supporting a lot of sports caricature artists, and I do a little bit of quizzing, and so that keeps me busy. And like I told you, you'll have to keep your mind always alert, mentally awake, morally straight, and physically fit. These three things are important, and I've been lucky. I've been able to pursue all my hobbies and my interests. It's all again about perception and attitude.
Yes, and I would like to extend that question a little more bit, because when you mentioned about keeping the mind, mentally alert and keeping it sharp, to put it in a nutshell, it is actually very easy, like for a person like you, it might be like, yes, it is easy. But what are the things, what are the habits, and, how do you sharpen that every day, Colonel?
Okay, so yeah, it's very easy to say but difficult to follow, like exactly what you said. But you see the man here behind me. There are two pictures that you can see. One is of Group Captain Sachin Tendulkar, and one is Honorary Lieutenant Colonel MS Dhoni. So MS is a good friend of mine, and so I've been with him for last about 10 odd years. I've known him as a friend. And some thoughts that he has is something which will help your listeners and viewers understand that living in the present is so important. What has happened, you cannot change much, and what is in the future is not in your hands. So be in the present and live in the present is something that MS Dhoni follows in his cricketing career as well as in life, and this is something that I also echo and reflect. And the second thing which is very, very important is to control the controllables. So there's no use brooding about things which are not in your control. So if you can somehow inculcate this in your daily life, that the controllables is something that you can do. And secondly is to live in the present and not worry about what has happened, because you will take decisions which are not, which will always not go your way, and you won't be able to predict what's going to come in front. So these two tips will help you always sharpen your mind, First is control the controllables, and second is to live in the present.
Beautiful. And now, yes, I'm not going to keep you away from the audience. We are open for live question answer session. So, yes, I see a first question here. Women in army, how many are there? And how to create awareness about opportunities that women have in army?
Oh,
Okay, that is for the women.
Women in army are, they're doing a wonderful service. They're doing a wonderful service, and in fact, there has been new orders that they're going to be permanently commissioned into the Indian Army, into various regiments and this thing. So, but the only thing is that they only can get into the army after graduation, and the opportunities are amazing, and they are as competent as the male officers. And I'm sure, and now we're going to have the soldiers also, women soldiers in the military police. So opportunities are amazing for women in the army, and I would encourage a lot of people to please join. In fact, I would say the competition amongst the women is much tougher than amongst men.
Wow. Okay, so hope, yes, you've got the answer for that, women in army. So, okay. I have another question here.
Yep.
How early should one start preparing to join the army, and what are the core values one needs to develop? Okay, that is interesting.
Okay, so as early as possible, get yourself acquainted with what the Indian Army is, what the Indian Armed Forces is, what is the acts of valor that has been done by the personnel. Get to know who are the 21 Paramveer Chakras, get to know what are the battles that India has fought, and how we have come out victorious. That's one thing. The second thing is, you can start actually preparation for the UPSC exam and the National Defense Academy right after your 10th standard. Even 9th standard is good enough. The written exam needs a little bit of preparation, but more important is keep yourself abreast with what's happening around the world, as well as prepare yourself to be a leader. Try and do activities where you can showcase your leadership, as well as be part of a team, and also keep yourself abreast with what's happening in the world, and that will help you prepare and be ready to face the exam as well as the interview in your 12th standard.
Okay, wow. And there, actually, we have a lot of questions scoring here.
Okay, I can see one. Should I take this on? Somebody's asked you a question. Is there any honorary service to citizen of India? Chitra Devi asked, what is the age limit?
Oh, yes, I think that is another question.
Yeah, we've got something called the Territorial Army, but unfortunately it's only for men. And so you can join the Territorial Army, and the age limit is right up to 42 years. So you can balance your private career as well as do service to the country by joining the Territorial Army. And all this, again, the details are available on joinindianarmy.nic.in. I hope I answered that question, Chitra Devi.
Perfect. And another question here for you, Colonel. So apart from being a soldier, is there any other, what are the different, roles that Army can offer for individuals? That's a question. So...
Oh, well,
is there any
roles are the varied roles, We are just not doing the military aspects of the army. We are also, getting ourselves groomed to be better human beings. We are educating ourselves. Like I got an opportunity to teach foreign languages. I got to learn foreign languages. I got to go abroad and serve in a foreign country. There are opportunities and to go and serve in the United Nations peacekeeping force. You could pursue your post-graduation in engineering. You could do a lot of postgraduate courses. So the opportunities are amazing. It's just not that you're firing every day or sitting in a sentry post. You are continuously keeping your mind alert and trying to enhance your skills. So, and like I told you, the army offers you everything. You could be a computer scientist, you could be a lawyer, you could be a veterinary doctor, and still you can be part of the army.
Okay, so wow, you definitely don't have to just be a soldier, or that is, I think, the highest. It is the crown that one can keep.
Absolutely. Everybody is a soldier first, and of course they're then doing all these things.
We have another question as well, Colonel. So, how to teach history of Indian Army to students? That someone has asked in
Oh
YouTube. So,
wow! Start like how I did. How to start history. Uh, Read about it. It's part of the academic syllabus in certain states. Read about it. We've got the internet, which is a great resource. Amar Chitrakatha has brought out a lot of Paramveer Chakra winners, comics that can make learning for children easy. There are a lot of movies. There are a lot of multimedia content on the internet. The same channel that you're watching, YouTube. And otherwise, I'm going to leave out my contact details at the end of this talk, and maybe you can reach out to me at that time.
great. And Colonel, I'm, quite. I wanted to ask. You also mentioned about the United Nations peacekeeping force that you went abroad and you were part of it. So how different is that when compared to our Indian setup? How different is it abroad?
Oh, well, it is a little different, but I didn't go to the unit peacekeeping course. I went as part of the Indian military training team at Bhutan. So I can talk about my experience. We went to Bhutan to train the soldiers and officers of the Royal Bhutan Army and the Royal Bodyguards. It was not just about training the soldiers there. Bhutan taught me, made me a complete different person. It also made me a complete human because Bhutan believes in something called gross national happiness, and it taught me how to be happy with whatever you have. So it's also a give and take. You go and contribute something by training the soldiers of another country, and in return, you get to know about the history, the culture, and the ethos of another country, which I don't think any profession or very few professions can offer that. And with respect to the United Nations peacekeeping force, we fight to maintain peace. So here, as soldiers, you will be traveling across the world in various places and ensure that the world is a nice place to stay and the world is a nice place to live in. And that's what the United Nations peacekeeping force does. And you'll be interacting with the soldiers from across the world. So you'll also get to know what is their professional attitude towards soldiering. So that's also a great opportunity at the ground level to understand what the countries are, what the other countries' military is doing. So, but I was fortunate to go to the Indian military training team at Bhutan, which not only taught me about my military skills, but it also made me a better human being because of their policy of gross national happiness.
Fighting to keep peace. Wow, it is ironical, but how beautifully blends with the Indian. I should also mention like something that really caught my attention was more
Mahabharata
you
was all
sweat
that,
in
wasn't
peace.
it? It was a fight to maintain peace.
True. We are actually watching that using Hotstar and using the VPNs, and I should say so many things to learn from that. And another, when we're talking about the ironical statements, this was something that really caught, that really made close to my heart. More you sweat in peace, the less you will bleed in war. So is that something that that's being imparted, to soldiers every single day, Colonel? How did you
Absolutely,
come?
absolutely. Because if we have casualties, then, like I told you, it's not only the soldier who's dying; it is a whole family which is getting affected. The morale of the troops get affected. So the harder you train, like I can give this tip to the viewers who are watching. Whatever profession you are, whether you're a student, you're somebody in management, you're a doctor, if you can hone your skills and practice for any contingency, when the actual situation comes, you'll be much more comfortable and confident. So this is something which is drilled in and day out in our academies, at the training academies for the officers and for the regimental centers, their academies there. That you have to train hard, because if you like one of the trainings that we do as infantry officers is to go to a course called the Ghatak course, which is otherwise called the commando course, where we are supposed to run for 40 kilometers with about 20 kilograms of packs and a rifle and all that. But maybe we would have used that skill maybe once or twice in our career, but we have the confidence that yes, we can do it because we have done it earlier and we have done it in our training and practice. So when the actual situation came, like it came for me when I was involved in that operation, we were without food for more than 24 hours, but I had trained for that. and that's the reason why we came out trumps.
Wow, 40 kilometers and 20 kgs with rifles. Wow, hats off, Colonel.
And
I
let
can't
me tell you,
imagine.
it's all here.
Wow, simply wow. And we have another question. How drones are used in army? Okay.
Drones is just a weapon system. It's just a weapon system. It could have a weapon system, or it could just be a surveillance device. We have something called the unarmed aerial vehicles. So we use that for surveillance. We use it for delivering certain things, and we don't have weaponized drones as of now. And I don't think we have a requirement as of now. But yes, we do use drones in the Indian Army.
Okay, so drones are used. And Vivek Narayanan has a question for you. What is the secret of your amazing energy and how to motivate others? I think it's how are you motivating others? I had the same question. So, yes, what is your secret, Colonel? Full of energy.
Speaking of my energy, I'm not
Not
going to use
boosts.
I'm not going to use what MS or Kapil Dev or Sachin said. But what I'm going to tell you is be in the present. I'm enjoying talking to you and to the viewers, and if I'm enjoying something, automatically the energy is going to reflect. If my mind is going to be what I'm going to have for dinner or what I'm going to do after this talk, it's going to be divided. But if I'm going to be enjoying what I'm doing now, automatically the energy is going to come. So take it in small bits and pieces. Do what you're doing now with a lot of passion and a lot of happiness, and I'm sure you will get the energy from within. Don't try and think about too much in the future or brood about what's happened in the past. Automatically you'll get the energy.
So now, okay, focus on now. Beautiful.
Absolutely.
And I will take this one last question because we're almost near. I can't believe we are nearing the end of the show, Colonel. Time, literally, it feels like just 1 minute for me now.
I'm not going to quote Einstein here, but yes, time definitely flew.
So this question is, how is life post-army retirement? Okay.
I think I answered that. I am involved in service for the families of those who have died
Project
in the
Sambandh was what you mentioned.
Project Sambandh.
Correct.
So I'm going to leave my contact details, and people can ask the questions because we have run out of time. And I'm going to leave my contact details, and people can ask their questions about Project Sambandh and other things. And so I am busy after retirement.
And your energy, and it speaks it all, Colonel.
Thank you very much.
I think I'm completely energized. I've drawn everything from you. And you know what? I'm going to keep in touch, and I'm going to keep calling you regularly to take more motivation.
Sure.
A big salute to all the work that you've done, Colonel, because shooting 6, soldiers from the other army, shooting 6 terrorists is not an easy thing. And how you felt and sharing your inputs and insights to the youngsters out there, I must say it was so informative and motivating, not only for the audience, for all of us around. For me, you've been such a big inspiration, and thank you so much for your time, for your efforts, and all that you've done for our country, Colonel.
Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure interacting with you and the team, and also the viewers and the listeners who are watching us on the various platforms. It was indeed a great opportunity for me to come and interact with all of you. I'm going to leave my contact details at the end of this session. You can get in touch with me also. It will be there in the comments box of the YouTube. So you can get in touch with me, and I will try and answer as many questions as possible. It might take time because I get a lot of queries. But it's been a great opportunity, and like they say in Australia, good on you, and cheers. Bye-bye.
Yes, and definitely this is close to my heart, I should say. It'll always remain special for me. Thank you so much, Colonel. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
So next week in our show, we're going to see about career opportunities in visual effects and computer graphics, and we will have Mr. Dhanpal Padmanabhan, film director and managing director of iGenie Entertainment, as our expert. I hope you really enjoyed the show as I did. This is definitely close to my heart, I should say, and on seeing all your questions pouring, I'm sure you enjoyed it too. See you next week, same time in the same window. And before I bid goodbye, I'm wishing you all a very happy Onam for tomorrow. You enjoy, stay safe, and until next week, it is your Sukruti Narayanan signing off from Australia. Thank you.